Very quick visual, and there's 2 or 3 things I'm obviously looking at. So remember, I'm working with these continuously, so I've got a very quick and keen eye. One of the first things I can see is that it does need a little bit more of this grass pulled out. See, the grass is encroaching here, and ideally we want that out. 2 or 3 reasons. One, it's going to steal the moisture, but also what's going to happen, if it builds up any more, you can see that's now wanting to re-root. And when it's re-rooting, it'll take over there, and it's an absolute nightmare to take out. So keep the grass pulled, because in the event of a strimmer coming along, if a strimmer sees long grass, they come and strim it. And they've only got to touch this with their strimmer, and it'll cut around the whole thing, and it'll cut off the supply of and the flow of sap and phylum and phloem and what have you, and then of course the thing's ring barked. So there's that I can see in particular. Everything else looks good. It looks in good condition, it's great, that's good, that's the right sort of amount of growth for the first year. Looks in good condition all round, it's not been dumped, even the dragonfly's still there, so that's good. In particular, what we do need to do now though is to start to give it a real good haircut. Any obvious ones, we can start to curl and lean in. I can see someone's already tried to weave it there. Back to that. But we're going to take most of it off today. This time next year, you'll have an established root system, and you'll have twice as many willow rods, and they'll be twice the size. So you'll have much more chance next year to say, we'll cut this lot out, and we'll keep this 10 or 20% and weave those in. And the classic is always cut back to the shoulder if you're slipping something out. Let's say we're slipping that fella out, cut way back there to the shoulder. It means that we'll stimulate the bud here for growth and stimulate the bud here for growth. Here we go. Danger is don't cut here. 2 reasons. First and foremost, the new growth is going to be coming out from here, not on the shape. And more importantly, that's a danger because that's now blunt and quite stout. And for a child falling on that, you've got a danger. So cut it right back to the shoulder when cutting out. So we've got to cut most of those out. We'll save a few to weave in. Remember, anything on the very top needs to be coming out. Because realistically, if it's growing out the top, you can't really weave it down. It doesn't like to be woven down. But anything that's good from here to here will be woven in and taken across. And in particular, we're wanting to establish some strength going across the apex. Remember that the hazel is only here for your first few years, and that's going to naturally start to biodegrade. But after 2 or 3 years, you've encouraged the good growth and you've woven it in across the top there. In particular, when you're weaving, it's not just a case of saying, oh, that's a good one, it's pointing the right way, it's a good length, we'll weave that in. It's more than just tucking it in, tucking it out. Some of them, some of them, what we want to do is to pleach them. And pleach, it sounds technical, but it's quite straightforward. This fella is obviously associated with this one, but if I wrap this one around here, in the next year's growth, when this gets thicker and this gets thicker, it's like your arms together, and it will get thicker and it will bite, and then it'll graft, and that's going to give you the strength. And that's what you want in 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years' time. So each year, some of what you weave in literally wants to be pleached. As simple as this, yeah? Remember, only in the dormant season. Don't try this in the summer, just when the leaf has dropped and get your first frosts. So November onwards. So I can take the tip of that, and I can carefully pop it in there. Use the whole of the arch to bend, like a fishing rod. Don't make the bend happen more here, because it'll kink. And that's gone in there quite happily, very happily. I'm now going to bring it back up to here. Use the whole arch again, just like the fishing rod. And now I can wrap this around, back inside there, back outside here, back around. Maybe finally back up to there. And I'm going to trim that top bit out as well now. That means that it's going to wrap up and say it'll bite and grow, and that makes it stronger. I'd recommend that the grass is definitely pulled. One, it prevents it from biting and then becoming overgrown. And the classic course being that you don't want strimmers then to be coming along. As soon as they see long grass, they'll come along. And of course it'll upset because they'll trim the bark. And if you put mulch on each year, it's going to hold the moisture in, and also it's going to act as a weed suppressant. So there's 2 or 3 things happening at once.
Okay.
And of course the mulch also rots down, so to some extent it's adding a wee bit of extra goodness there as well.
Okay. Super. So we do that.
When you're doing the main weaving part in the season, you'll need at least 2 people, or 3. One of you, like Mandy, will be inside. We'll need to weave and bleach it across the top here. So it's definitely someone inside and someone outside you'll find. And also, I'd say it's very important emotionally or psychologically that someone doesn't come out here to do it on their own, because if it's a cold winter's day and you're in a wind and it turns to rain, psychologically you start thinking, oh my golly, what am I up to? And it can be quite a daunting task.
Okay.
So maybe
Make sure
do
you
it
come as a
at a
team.
weekend or school day, I don't know, but
Okay.
if there's say 3 or 4 of you, someone brings a cake, someone brings a thermos flask, and collectively you roll your sleeves up and do it together.
I like the
Super.
sound of cake.
Cake and thermos flask.
I'll do anything for it.
Super.
And
Aw.
remember, there is a metal collar up here, so that you've always got that to tie onto. And of course, you've got 80 foot of this black stretchy that I gave you
Yes.
earlier on to
Yes.
use to tie it in.
To help
So
tie it in.
weave and pleat it in, but tie in where you need to as well.
Okay. Super.